Okay. Mr. Stone is, we're waiting for the right moment. Mr. Levine is not here. Mr. Manshine, please come forward. And thank you, Mr. Manshine, for giving us time to work on your other bill. I really appreciate it. So this is AB 618, item number 13.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and committee members. Existing law allows a prisoner to request a hearing from the Board of Parole Hearings to make the case as to why they should be given parole. The law requires that a prisoner who's being considered for parole within the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation to be evaluated by an independent and certified clinician prior to a parole hearing. If it's determined that the prisoner should receive a parole hearing, existing law requires the prisoner's primary mental health clinician and the independent evaluator to evaluate that prisoner. The Board of Parole Hearings has the authority to appoint 2 independent professionals to conduct an additional review in certain circumstances. However, these independent evaluators are not required to consult with the prisoner's primary mental health clinician before making a recommendation to the board. The evaluator has complete access to the prisoner's medical charts and meets with the prisoner one-on-one for an assessment. Oftentimes, the evaluator's analysis and recommendation may be incomplete or lack context since they may not know the unique circumstances facing the prisoner. AB 618 would require the independent evaluators to consult with the prisoner's primary mental health clinician only at the request of the prisoner before making a recommendation to the Board of Parole Hearings. The bill will ensure that both public safety and the well-being of the prisoner are maintained by improving communication between the prisoner's primary mental health team and the independent evaluators. Here to speak on behalf of the bill is Elena Janelle from AFSCME Local 2620.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Elena Janelle, and I do represent AFSCME Local 2620, and I'm also one of the treating clinicians. There are a number of problems with these types of evaluations and parole hearings. For example, they're brief and hopefully objective, but objectivity can also lead to misinterpretation. For example, this was vetoed by the governor last year with the belief that these clinicians do come to the treating clinician and ask them questions and seek information. I've never heard that happening, frankly. Another problem with them is the GAF that's used, and they GAF outpatients in CDCR at 50 to 69. The parole board is setting a cutoff of 70 to 75, which is undercutting their person's ability to be paroled. This problem of misinterpretation is important because if they don't give a correct and adequate picture of the advancement that this person has made, either the patient in a state hospital or a lifer in CDCR, then they can be denied their release or their parole. For example, there was a person who was treated at my facility who believed that when asked by the evaluator about his childhood, said it was fine, it was great, I guess it was, it was okay. Then got into treatment and recognized that things were not normal. And a person doesn't know what's normal if they have not seen anything else other than what they grew up with. As a result, when the evaluator then reevaluated them the following year or at the next board hearing, they said that, well, you said this once about your childhood, it was great, now you're saying it wasn't. You lied. And that's a total misinterpretation of what had happened. And when the parole board saw this, they denied him parole. So there's a lot of problems going on here. We would just like to be part of correcting any kind of misinterpretations. Another issue is that the parole board is frequently sending lifers to us, asking them to get treatment. And if that's the case, it's my opinion that the parole board will be interested in hearing at least some of our opinion regarding that person's progress in treatment. Thank you.
Thank you for your excellent testimony. Other witnesses in support?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Matt Gray on behalf of taxpayers for improving public safety and support. Without stating what was previously said, this bill allows for a more thorough consideration of all the forensic psychological information that's available, and we think it's appropriate, and we urge your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Other witnesses in support? Name, organization, and position? Yes, you can use that.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members, Amanda Levy on behalf of the California Psychological Association, also in support.
Great.
Raji Prasad from the National Association of Social Workers, and we also support this bill.
Great.
Thank you. David Bouchot on behalf of Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, and we also support this bill.
All right. Any other witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? There being no witnesses in opposition, comments and questions from the committee. Okay, moved by the Vice Chair, seconded by Member Gonzalez. Again, any questions or comments? You may close.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members. AB 618 bridges the gap between the important work we entrust to a prisoner's primary mental health clinician and the parole analysis prepared by the parole board's independent evaluators, and I would respectfully request an aye vote.
Yes. And again, I voted for this bill last year. I'm voting for it again. The governor, it passed out of the House. The governor did veto it, I think for the wrong reasons. He pointed out that the investigators for the parole can talk, but to the person who knows the most about this patient, but they don't have to. And we have clear evidence that they don't always do it. So again, I'm an enthusiastic supporter. Anytime I will talk with the governor's staff and see if we can't get something done this year that gets signed.
Thank you, Mr.
So with that enthusiastic support, what is the motion?
Due pass to appropriations.
It's due pass to appropriations. Madam Secretary, you may call the roll.
Quirk.
Aye.
Quirk, aye. Melendez. Melendez, aye. Gonzalez. Gonzalez, aye. Jones Sawyer.
Aye.
Jones Sawyer, aye. Lackey. Lackey, aye. Lowe.
Aye.
Lowe, aye. Santiago. Santiago, aye.
So the bill is out unanimously 7-0. Congratulations, and let me know how I can be of help.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
All right. Now, Member Gonzalez has some witnesses who have a time pressure, so I'm going to have her come up next. Seven.
Thank you, Chair. This is
All right, just a second. So this is item number 7, AB 489.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. California annually awards the Public Safety Medal of Valor to public safety officers for extraordinary valor above and beyond the call of duty. Currently, firefighters, law enforcement officers, including corrections and court officers, and EMTs are all eligible to receive this award. The public safety officer nominations are selected by an 11-member board, the Public Safety Medal of Valor Review Board. Among some of the members are representatives of PORAC, the California State Firefighters Association, the California Police Chiefs Association, the California Correctional Peace Officers Association, and others. Here's the problem. Lifeguards are not included as a group eligible to receive the Public Safety Medal of Valor. Lifeguards risk their lives daily and to perform rescue procedures countless times throughout their profession, yet they do not even qualify for this award. AB 489 will become more inclusionary of those who risk their lives every day to protect us by adding ocean lifeguards to the list of eligible public servants. AB 489 will also include the addition of an ocean lifeguard representative to the Public Safety Medal of Valor Review Board. I want to be clear. The nomination process will remain exactly the same. The board will have the same ultimate say on who gets nominated for this award. It is not my intention to tip the balance of the board, and I don't believe that adding one representative would do such a thing. All I am trying to achieve with this bill is to have a more encompassing list of eligible Medal of Valor recipients. I think ocean lifeguards deserve this. With me to testify in support of the bill today is Chris Carlson, father of an unfortunate lifeguard that we lost, Ben Carlson, and Chris Brewster, a retired lifeguard chief and a representative of the United States Life Saving Association.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Chris Carlson, and I'm here to ask your support of AB 489. Late in the afternoon of July 6, 2014, our 32-year-old son, Benjamin, dove from the Newport Beach Lifeguard Sea-Watch boat to assist a distressed swimmer who is struggling in the extremely heavy 8 to 10-foot surf. Ben had already made a dozen of similar rescues over the course of the busy 4th of July weekend. And it's been estimated that he made over 1,000 such saves during his 15-year career as a seasonal ocean lifeguard at Newport Beach. However, this July 6th rescue ended up in a dramatically different result. Ben, a UCI graduate, and a well-trained and extremely fit waterman reached the victim, but while towing him back to the Sea-Watch boat was hit by yet another large wave. The victim returned to the surface after the wave, but tragically, Ben did not. Since that fateful day, Ben has received many posthumous honors, highlighted by 3 Medals of Valor, a letter from the President of the United States, and most recently, the renaming of Newport Beach Lifeguard Headquarters in Ben's name. While these honors are greatly appreciated and have contributed to the healing of our family, I'm not here to lobby for another honor for our son. I am here to respectfully ask you to consider including ocean lifeguards as future eligible recipients of the State of California Public Safety Medal of Valor. California ocean lifeguards serve an important role in keeping our beach communities safe. As an ocean lifeguard, Ben was performing an active duty that thousands of well-trained young men and women take on as the summer crowds come to the California coastal communities. And if this coming summer is anything like past summers, they will rescue tens of thousands of people from potential drownings. Many of these rescues will occur in extremely dangerous conditions and will require high levels of training, fitness, and courage. These ocean saves will require heroic efforts. So I urge your support of AB 489, not for my son Ben, but for the ocean lifeguard heroes that are yet to come. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir, for your testimony. Our chair had to go present a bill in another committee, so I will stand in for him while he is gone. You have another witness, Ms. Gonzalez. Go ahead, sir. 2 minutes.
Honorable Chairwoman, members of the committee, Chris Brewster. I'm the president of the United States Life Saving Association, the National Association of Professional Beach Lifeguards, and a retired lifeguard chief for the city of San Diego. It's very hard for me to speak any more eloquently than Mr. Carlson did. You understand the circumstances. What I do want to emphasize is that in a given year, lifeguards in California, beach lifeguards, are effecting over 45,000 rescues from drowning. A lot of those are routine. Some of them are very unroutine. There are some serious challenges that occur occasionally. Many of these lifeguards are EMTs, engaged in firefighting, law enforcement, flood rescue, cliff rescue, a variety of other challenging assignments like that. Lifeguards risk life and safety on every rescue they make. Sometimes they come back fine, and sometimes they're seriously injured and even die. The reason we're here is that an effort was made to nominate Mr. Carlson, and we were advised that lifeguards would not be eligible to be considered in this circumstance. We're not here to suggest, and Mr. Carlson is not here to suggest, that his son is necessarily deserving of the medal. The suggestion is that he's deserving of being considered, as are all lifeguards under these circumstances. If approved, what would happen with this bill is that lifeguards would be able to be nominated. The committee would obviously evaluate each case on its merits, and I would emphasize that lifeguards would be a distinct minority on the committee, and so they would need the support of all of the other committee members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, very much. We have time now for those who are in support of this bill. If you would come to the microphone and state your name, your organization you're representing, and whether you support or oppose.
Good morning. My name is Terry Carlson. I'm Ben Carlson's mother. I support the bill.
Good morning. Shane Levine on behalf of the California Statewide Law Enforcement Association in support.
Good morning. Alberto Tarico on behalf of State Coalition Probation Organizations in support of the bill.
Good morning. I'm Ben Carlson's grandmother in support.
Barry Broad with the Teamsters. We represent lifeguards and we support the bill.
Moira Top here on behalf of the City of San Diego in strong support.
Thank you. Any other witnesses in support? Okay, now we have time in the hearing for testimony from those who may wish to oppose this bill. If there is any such person, please come forward. Welcome, sir. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee, Assembly Member Gonzalez and Mr. Carlson. My name is Mike Dren. I'm the president of the Peace Officers Research Association of California, representing approximately 68,000 members throughout law enforcement members throughout California, and many of those are also lifeguards. The one thing that I believe from our PORAC membership that this bill is missing is the Public Safety Medal of Valor Committee fully supports any sworn lifeguard that may fit this category. But the key is sworn. This award, in our opinion, was developed for public safety officials, sworn law enforcement, and fire. And although I surely do not want to diminish anything that happened down in Newport Beach with Mr. Carlson's son, but ultimately it is a belief of PORAC and of our membership that this bill were to include sworn lifeguards, we would be more than happy to change our position on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Are there any other witnesses who wish to come forward in opposition to this bill? Going once, going twice. Okay, then we will bring it back up here to the dais for discussion from the committee members. Anyone have anything to add?
I just need clarification. Can the difference between a sworn ocean lifeguard and also versus between a recreation pool lifeguard and an ocean lifeguard, specifically what type of training are we talking about? I think it would help the committee if we knew what type of training an ocean lifeguard went through. It's not something, you just don't pop up and become an ocean lifeguard overnight.
Did you want the member representative from PORAC to also come up and address that?
Sure.
It might be
Whoever
helpful
can
to
answer
have.
the question.
He may know better than.
Well, I would think the ocean lifeguard. Okay. Yeah, both.
Could you repeat that? I apologize.
You stated that evidently there's a difference between an ocean lifeguard and a sworn ocean lifeguard, and I wanted to know about the training for ocean lifeguards. Period. What's involved, and then what is the difference between the two?
It's the opinion of PORAC, Assembly Member, that I couldn't sit here and protest to you that I know the difference because I'm not a lifeguard or a fireman. I'm a police officer in the state of California. The award was specifically developed for sworn peace officers and sworn firefighters. We do, within PORAC, have many organizations that have firefighters as well as lifeguards that are actually firefighters or that are actually peace officers, that their job assignment, their collateral duty assignment at this time is a lifeguard. They're sworn peace officers. So they are currently eligible if they're sworn. There are many other awards that are out there, as Mr. Carlson mentioned. There are many other awards that are out there that his son did receive and should have received. Absolutely. Fully support every award that his son has received. And I, again, don't want to diminish his heroic efforts, but this Medal of Valor is the Peace Officer and Firefighters Medal of Valor. I understand it's a public safety Medal of Valor, but the inception of the legislation that created it was fully based on sworn peace officer and firefighters. And there is currently a position held by the Medal of Valor Committee that represents emergency medical personnel. And that position has regularly always been represented by a firefighter who has many other collateral assignments within their jurisdiction.
And I may be wrong, but I think the legislature could possibly add that. Just what part of this discussion is. We could add ocean lifeguards or whatever to that designation. I'm just trying to get an understanding of what how an ocean lifeguard gets trained, and from your position, it sounds like if you're a law enforcement officer who then becomes, as part of your duty as a lifeguard, that's a sworn. So I'm trying to figure out what is the difference between the two. And maybe
so you can add that, absolutely. This committee surely could pass this bill that Assemblymember Gonzalez has put forward. Our concern is we believe that by adding an ocean lifeguard, what could be next, as was brought up in the testimony for the support, is it's not going to tip the scales. It's clearly not going to. However, today we're here discussing ocean lifeguards. What are we going to be discussing next year or the year after to add another form of representative on the Medal of Valor Committee? And that's where our members are coming from. This Medal of Valor is the highest honor that can be received. And for instance, I'll give you a very short scenario, if I may, Madam Vice Chair. We had an incident, a horrific incident in public safety last year out in Big Bear, where we lost 2 law enforcement officers in the state of California over an incident surrounding Christopher Dorner. When that confrontation came to pass up in the mountains of Big Bear, there were 14 members, 14 to 15 members from San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department and many other organizations that were confronting this man. And during that entire time, heroic efforts like you can't believe were unfolding. 2 people that were up there at that event received the Medal of Valor. The other 13 did not.
Is that because they weren't eligible, or they just didn't receive it?
Every single one of them were eligible.
So they were
all
eligible.
sworn peace officers.
Okay.
So
that's just the level of this award.
Can I get to my
Thank you,
question?
sir.
Or maybe
Yes.
No, thank you. And the reason I'm asking that is to see if whether or not this group of individuals may rise to the level that you're talking about with their training and their duties and responsibilities.
And I can assure you.
But
Sir, let him answer. Thank you.
Yes, so Mr. Jones-Sawyer, thank you for asking. I believe the point about sworn is that there are, in fact, some lifeguards in California who are sworn peace officers. There are some who are not. They're trained for different purposes. For example, state of California full-time lifeguards are sworn and armed peace officers. But many lifeguards, for example, operating major open ocean rescue boats off of Los Angeles County, San Diego, and a variety of other places are not necessarily sworn peace officers. But the primary function of these individuals is going out into the ocean, whether in boats, in helicopters, off the sides of cliffs, in flood rescue or whatever, and rescuing people and putting their lives on the line to do that. I think you asked about the training. And the typical training for a lifeguard starts off with about 100 hours of training just for the seasonal people working in the summertime, and then it goes into hundreds of hours for operating boats, operating emergency vehicles, cliff rescue vehicles, and that sort of thing. So when you're talking about 45,000 rescues from drowning and a variety of other rescues each year, it's pretty substantial. I would just like to emphasize the point, I think, that was made by the opponent here, which is we are not arguing that any particular circumstance is deserving of it, just as was the circumstance as he has explained. What we're suggesting is that these lifeguards should have the opportunity to be nominated. That's all. Did that answer your question?
yes, I would.
Well, I tried.
And I don't want to belittle it, but it's almost like I don't know. So I don't know the difference between a Baywatch lifeguard and the one at my recreation.
Okay, Baywatch lifeguards aren't real.
Okay,
I just want to tell you that right now.
Right.
Okay?
Again, I'm not.
So we're clear. They're not
Very
real.
serious.
Yes,
Talking very serious, but
I do really understand your question then if you explain it that way. So the typical lifeguard at a pool has about 30 hours of training and is typically working for a couple of summers or whatever on an hourly basis. The kind of lifeguards that we're talking about here are career personnel, many of them in public safety retirement systems in their communities or in CalPERS. Just to give you an idea, since 1956, the California Vehicle Code has recognized all lifeguard vehicles as emergency vehicles on the highways. I mean, we've been in the public safety milieu from the very beginning.
If I could just interject for a moment to perhaps help bring some clarity to this. I think what the Assemblyman is asking is there a difference between the training that an ocean lifeguard receives who is a sworn officer and those who are not? That's all we're asking. Is that correct? Is there a difference in the training for one ocean lifeguard who's a sworn officer and another ocean lifeguard who is not?
From the perspective of their lifeguard work, no.
Of their training.
Of their training and lifeguard work, no. Whether they may also be assigned to law enforcement work, they may receive additional training for the law enforcement side.
No,
of
we're
it.
just talking about the ocean lifeguard work.
The ocean lifeguard training is the same, sworn or not.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez.
I just want to clarify, with all due respect. I mean, I never thought I'd be sitting here across from Fire and Porac in my wildest dreams or nightmares. But just to clarify, nowhere in this bill, nowhere in the code as it currently states, does it say sworn officer. That may be a policy of the Medal of Valor Committee, and maybe it's a good policy, but nowhere in the law now are we contemplating for any other person, even the EMT, does it say it has to be a sworn officer. So although that might be a valid discussion for the future, I don't think it's pertinent to what I am trying to do in this bill, which is simply add a lifeguard. Now, within the discussions of the Medal of Valor Committee to nominate somebody, if that's a policy, that will remain the policy, and that means some lifeguards would be eligible and some would not. But we're not trying to involve ourselves in that. We are just trying to put a lifeguard on the board and be clear that a lifeguard is eligible.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that. Oh, we have another attendee here. I assume you're here to testify in support, right?
Madam Chair, unfortunately not. Will you still permit me to speak?
Sure.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Christy Baumer representing the California Professional Firefighters. We regretfully oppose the bill. And from the perspective of the CPF and our member who serves on the Medal of Valor Commission, is that it's necessary to add a lifeguard. He believes they're eligible for nomination now, notwithstanding the dialogue about, sworn or non-sworn and what the Commission's view of that is. But as you also would note in our letter, this is not a line of duty death award, and so we firmly believe that if a deserving lifeguard achieves and attains the level of scrutiny to earn a Medal of Valor award, then an ocean lifeguard would receive that award based on that job performance of the heroism and above and beyond the call of duty. But line of duty deaths are tragic, but every firefighter who dies in the line of duty does not receive a Medal of Valor award. So that is the nature of our opposition, is that we think they're eligible now. We think the body could address and award this where appropriate, and is not necessary to expand the commission and add just another organization to the commission. So for those reasons, we're opposed.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Baumer. Are there any other members of the committee who wish to ask a question or make a comment? Mr. Lackey?
I'd just like to make a clarification. It seems to me that the issue at hand is the consideration and not the selection. And so I think that that is clearly something that should be allowed to be considered by the body who makes this very sacred decision. And so I'm going to actually support the bill.
Any other members? Okay, so Ms. Gonzalez, thank you very much for bringing this bill forward. I'm sure it's been an interesting challenge wading through the opposition and support and trying to bring everybody to consensus. Mr. and Mrs. Carlson and Grandma is here also. There she is. Oh, no, that's not Grandma. There she is. Okay. I was going to say, you're too young to look like Grandma. Thank you for being here today, and I'm so sorry for your loss on behalf of the entire committee. We're very sorry for your loss. I can imagine that's a day that you will likely never forget. I understand the opposition. I really do. And I'm sure it's hard to come here and put it in terms that people can understand that you are not trying to be inflammatory about your opposition, but just that they understand. I think you've done a good job of that. But I don't really see much harm in adding this. It makes them eligible. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will be chosen. But we're not talking about pool lifeguards. We're not talking about, my son who may volunteer in the summer to meet girls at the pool. This is not. Not that he would do that, but I mean, this is a very serious job that they take on. When I was in Pensacola, Florida, when I was in the Navy, I participated in the Rescue Swimmer School. And when you're out there in the ocean, that is no game. That is a big deal. And when you're trying to battle waves, as you well know, with the loss of your son, it is very dangerous. We're making a clear distinction here between what is a recreational summertime job and what is a job that is actually saving or protecting someone's life. So for that reason, I do support the bill. I hope that we can, perhaps further the conversation and see if we can come to some sort of agreement on that. I very much appreciate everyone's comments. And with that, I will ask for the roll. I believe the motion, we don't have a motion yet.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Jones Sawyer and second by Mr. Lackey. And this motion is to pass to appropriations. And I believe the chair has recommended.
And none.
Oh, he does not make a recommendation, but I believe the chair is voting aye. So, Madam Secretary?
Quirk. Melendez.
Aye.
Melendez, aye. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Gonzalez, aye. Jones Sawyer. Jones Sawyer, aye. Lackey. Lackey, aye. Lowe.
Aye.
Lowe, aye. Santiago. Santiago, aye.
Bill is out 6.
The bill is out 6-0. Thank you very much, Ms. Gonzalez. And our chair is back. Good timing.